Hi, I'm Alexandra.
And I'm Evan.
And we are within hiking distance.
Next we'll talk about Lassen Volcanic National Park in California. So quick overview on this park is that it is in the northeast of California at the southern tip of the Cascade Mountain Range. It's one of the oldest national parks established in the United States in 1916. And Lassen Peak is one of the largest plug dome volcanoes in the world. So a lot of interesting history there. And it was Lassen Peak last erupted in May 22nd, 1915. And so scientists are monitoring right now. Just check it out. You never know when the next eruption is going to happen. And there's also an audio tour that matches markers around the 30 miles of the highway inside the park. So be sure to check that out if you go.
So why we think it's underrated and why we love it? Well, it's in a very remote area. The biggest city nearby is Redding in California, and it's 47 miles from the park entrance. So just like Capitol Reef, you kind of have to plan to go there. You cannot just be like, I'll be just driving around and check one spot and then go. And it's kind of a mini Yellowstone with all the volcanic activity going on. I mean, you don't have the crazy wildlife. It's more mountainous wildlife that you're not going to see like you would see in Yellowstone. But it has a big volcanic activity, just like Evan mentioned. It has eight hydrothermal areas, more than 200 lakes, dozens of meadows, and it has over 150 miles of trail. So it's really big, and there's a lot of diversity to see on all the trails that you can explore. It has breathtaking alpine views, and you can still play in the snow in June. We visited in June, and we were able to do some snow battles or
snowball fights.
Snowball fights. Mm-hmm. So, and you can see on the National Park Service website dedicated to Lassen Volcanic National Park, they tell you if there's snow on the trail or on the road. So if you ever plan to visit there, I would recommend you to check out the website first so that you can plan accordingly. You can find, one thing that we loved about Lassen Volcanic is that you can find a parking spot when you want to go for a hike. It's really easy. I mean, because it's not as traffic as other national parks, you can just plan to go to a park for a hike, park at the trailhead and go and do it. It's no big deal. So that's definitely a big plus. And you can also there's also something called the Reach Higher Trail Challenge, and so you need to hike 7 miles for it. And so when you go to the visitor center, they will give you a little booklet to fill in, and you put in the hikes that you did and the mileage that you did. And then when you go back to the visitor center, they will review it and give you a commemorative bandana, which is fun. It's always nice to have a little encouragement from hiking. I'll take it.
So next we'll discuss some hikes on the trail. One of them is the Manzanita Lake Loop hike. It's a 2-mile loop around the lake, and you get beautiful views of Lassen Peak, and it's an easy hike, and it's fun. The next one is King Creek Falls, which is a 2-mile round trip trail. It's an easy trail, and you follow a stream, and that was a nice one too.
Yeah, you can see the falls really close by.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're just right next to the falls going up on the right-hand side of it. So they kind of cascade down. So yeah, it's pretty nice. Ridge Lakes Trail is also a popular one with 2.4 miles. One of our favorites is the Cinder Cone Trail. So still part of Lassen Volcanic National Park, but you kind of got to drive outside it to get to it. So that's 4.4 miles round trip. And it has fantastic views. It's pretty amazing. We have a video on that, and there was major eruptions in 1650. So this, the hike, it starts off easy, just walking through some lava beds, and then it becomes moderate before turning strenuous as you go up the mountain or up the volcano. So we really enjoyed this one. Going down the volcano is a lot of fun. You just run down, and yeah, you'll get there like super fast rather than the slow slog up. So we really enjoyed this one. Definitely, yeah, that's one of our favorites if you go.
Yeah, and the landscape around it, once you're on the volcano and you look at the landscape around it, it's just, you can see it's still marked from the eruption, so there's actually a lake that partly disappeared because of it. So it's just really fun when you're on top of the volcano to be able to witness that. And
you get great views of painted dunes around the volcano, and also Lassen Peak you can see pretty clearly.
Yep. Yeah, it's great. Another one that we wanted to do and we didn't get to do it because it was closed, but we definitely would do it. And it's called Bumpass Hell Trail, and it has a lot of volcanic features. So you actually walk along some bubbling mud, and there's some sulfur steam going out and all this kind of stuff. And so this is, and I read that it just reopened. So if you ever go, we would definitely recommend to do that, even though we've never done it, because we would want to do it.
Yeah, I think, otherwise the only other place where you can see the bubbling mud is just off the side of the road. And I forgot the name of the trail, but it's just right there on the left, and there's a big parking lot right there. So, but yeah, definitely the Bumpass Hell Trail would be something that we would do if it was open.
Yes. One trail that we enjoyed as a family was the devastated area, and so it's an interpretive trail, and they have a lot of information about the eruption of Lassen Peak. So they actually have some photos because it was widely documented back then when it happened, and that's actually how Lassen Volcanic became this national park. It's because they just documented this happening and trying to preserve it. So that was super interesting. It was showing this enormous rock on the trail, and that was a rock that was thrown off by the volcano all the way. That is pretty far out. So it's just really impressive to see like the consequences and how it looks even just a century after the eruption. That was really cool one. It's not really a hike, it's kind of a little walk, and it's just outside Lassen Volcanic National Park. It's called Subway Cave, and it's free to visit. And you bring your flashlight, you don't need a federal pass or anything to go there. There's a small parking, and you just go there, and it's a quarter of a mile lava tube. It's pitch dark in there, and your phone is not going to help you go through it. You really need a flashlight. Yeah, it's totally dark, and I think it's 47, 48 degrees in there, something like that. So it gets a little cool, but because it's short, and it's okay. Take a sweater, take a flashlight, and go explore that, because that was really fun and worth doing. So that was our take on the Lassen Volcanic National Park.